So, welcome to Into the Room. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Today, I am so excited. We have excellent, spectacular, interesting. I mean, if you don't come away from this interview today not feeling inspired, I don't know what to tell you, but I am so excited to have our special guest. First of all, my name is Sandra Nicholson, and I am the host of Into the Room podcast. And I'm so excited today to have a woman who, to me, she is the epitome of being an overcomer, taking what you call sour lemons and making it into lemonade with strawberry mixed in the mix.
You know
um,
what to say.
she, she, she's she is truly an overcomer. She's an achiever. She's a beautiful woman, and she has a powerful story to tell, really, the world. And I'm so grateful and so honored that she would come on here today and share her story. And her name is Miss Blossom Rogers. Just to give you a little bit background about Blossom, Blossom is originally from Smyrna, Florida. And in her early life, like most kids, I'm sure she had a lot of dreams and visions that she wanted to achieve, that she's actually is walking to at this present time in her life. She is an author. She's written 3 books, and she's currently finishing up her 4th book. Her first 2 books are called, well, the first book is called From Under the Bridge, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And then the other book is called Beyond the Bridge. I think that's the one that she's currently working on now. And then the other book that she has written is called When They Laugh. And is that the name of it, Blossom?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
it's 4 books. So
Okay. And so she's written 4 books. Not only has she written 4 books, she has made her debut in her first film as playing the lead as uh, a grandmother's faith, written and directed by Larry Evetta. And that will be coming out hopefully sometime either this year or early next year. Can't wait to see that. Not only has she debuted in her first feature film, but she recently just came off of the stage of a play that she had written along with her co-writers, Miss Joyce Harriet and Pastor Nontrell Taylor and Blossom. They all collaborated, and Blossom is playing the leads as Miss Afro. So I hear that's doing very well. Hopefully that will pick up and get more steam and, possibly travel the country. But I'm not going to take any more time. Blossom has spoken some of it everywhere. She's been on TBN. She has her own talk show called the Blossom TV Show, and she's just doing a whole lot. But and she has a documentary. But like I said, I'm not going to take any more of your time. I'm going to introduce you to the wonderful, talented, gifted, very anointed Miss Blossom Rogers. Yeah.
hey, how you doing? Well, first of all, I give God all the glory and the honor. It's truly a blessing to be hanging out with you today on a Saturday. I like these kind of interviews because you can just lounge around and still be taking care of God's business.
Yeah.
But with Miss Afro, God has blessed me to be part of this event. When she called me, Joy, when she called me, I met Joy years ago, and then God just blessed it when she called me and asked me did I want to be part of this play. And when I tell you, it was just a blessing to be a part of Miss Afro. It was just a blessing. I am the author of 4 books: From Under a Bridge 1, from under a bridge to, and they laugh, and when they laugh. Because we got two kinds of laughters. Are they laughing with you or at you?
Right,
Um,
right,
Go ahead.
right, right. So, so as I was reading, as I was reading your bio and watching um, the documentary, because the documentary is called From Under the Bridge. One thing that stuck with me and made me think was that you said you spent 19 years living up under a bridge,
Well,
right?
I was on crack cocaine for 19 years, but the last 5 years of my addiction was when I
Uh-huh.
lived under a bridge.
The last 5 years of when you lived, okay. And so, um, y- what started, how did you even, I mean, what led you down that road? I mean, what got you even onto drugs? And well, I had your first experience having some affiliation with drugs, even though they probably didn't think of it as, is when you were having Coke 45 at 5 years old.
Yeah. My great grandmother, she raised me, and I had wingworms as a child. And she was raised that if a child has wingworms, you give them beer to kill the worms. Well, we know that that didn't kill the worms, but
Oh,
I fell in love with a horse. Some kids do it with parades or with the merry-go-round. I fell in love with a horse on a can of Coke 45. So that
mm,
was my first time. Every Sunday was my medicine day, to drink my little beer. I had my own little special little cup. And that's the way that she was raised. We have to remember it was a generational thing that was passed down. But
right,
my what led me to smoking crack cocaine, and I talk about this, and anything I talk about today, I'm not ashamed of nothing that I've been through or what I've done, because it's by the grace of God that I'm sitting here today able to
right,
talk about it, because I used to couldn't talk about my past. But when I was coming up, we could not talk about whatever happens in the house. It stays in the house. Now, I do want to let people know my books are not to hurt anybody. The books are to help somebody, because what I went through, we have so many people that have been through abuse with molestation that they couldn't talk about it. You still got some people now that can't or won't talk about it. You know
right,
what I'm saying?
right,
Because what
right,
you know what I'm saying? So um God had to teach me how to forgive my abuser, because we have to remember, hurt people hurt people.
right,
I just don't believe in my heart that now that they want to inflict that on me. Uh, we, we have to remember, as children, we was taught whatever an adult told you to do, that's what you did. We couldn't
right,
tell them no. We couldn't go to the schools and tell nobody nothing. So we just as sick as our secrets. So I want somebody to catch that in the spirit room. We're just as sick as our secrets. And by me not dealing with my molestation, that's what was one aspect of me with the crack cocaine, because when we know better, we should do better. All right. I used it as a crutch because I didn't want to feel. I was always looking for love in all the wrong places, because going through the molestation. I didn't know. To this day, I ask myself now, have was I ever in love, true love? You understand me? Was it just existing? Because as a child, when your childhood is snatched from you, it's by the grace of God. And I've had some relationships. Don't get me wrong, but today I have a relationship with Christ, and I tell everybody I would love to be remarried because I'm divorced now. But I want to make sure that the person loves God and they're gonna love me. You know what I'm saying? You
yeah,
know, it, that's just going through the molestation and not being able to talk about it.
right. So in when you were out there and um, when you were out there and you was dealing, or you never sold the drugs, you were just out there using the drugs. When you were out there, um, you know what I thought, I know it's rough on men being out there, because I see it out here on Skid Row, or even beyond Skid Row now. The homelessness is somewhere everywhere in Los Angeles. But when you're out there and you are using drugs and you're on the street, as a woman, you're vulnerable because you're a woman and you have people that want to take advantage of you. I can only imagine how many times you had to fight somebody off of you. You know what I mean? And like, was that a common thing? Was that like a daily thing or a weekly thing or a monthly thing? I mean, how many days could you go by without having a confrontation, having to defend yourself when you were out there?
Well, you know what? I was always a fighter, and I've come to learn that I was fighting with myself. Um, I when it came to that, I can't say I had been raped before, but I can't say that because I was always a joker, so I would make people laugh,
Okay.
to get what I want. You know what I'm saying? Now I did go through some rough times, but when we put
Yeah.
ourselves in predicaments, when we do things out of order gonna come. You know what I'm saying? So I can't put everything on the person because sometimes I caused the problems. You know what I'm saying? Stealing from them or saying I was going to do this and didn't do it. We put ourselves, well, Blossom, I put myself in predicaments that sometimes I had to fight to get out of. Now, was it easy out there? No, it's never easy out on the streets for man or woman, because you
Right.
have men that are doing things in order to get their drug of choice as well. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you got to get
Right.
out there and get it. They're not gonna give it to you.
Right. I get you. So from from transitioning from there, when did you decide, like, okay, I don't want to do this life anymore? Something has to change. You get tired of living under a bridge. Um, when, what was the rock bottom point for you? Because you said you had lived under the bridge for a couple of years. So when did you? Because some people probably could do it for a day and be like, I can't do this no more. Some people be like, okay, I can only live a month under a bridge. But you stayed out there. You said for what, 5 years under the
And
bridge?
you,
So
I had. Well, you know what? I had a car, so it was. Once I get in the front seat and go to the west side, I always got in trouble. So I had a car up in the. You have some people that didn't have a car, but God bless, I had a car.
right,
So the last 5 years, I think that's what made it kind of a little easier because I had a car, because I could go where I need to go and then come back. Because I had messed up so bad with so many people, nobody would let me stay with them.
okay,
You know what I'm saying?
I
So,
get
yeah. So when we make our bed hot, we got delay in it.
it.
Um, I think, I talk about in my book how I went through the molestation. I talk about how I got pregnant at an early age,
Right.
how I got, the drugs and all that. And dude, it was because of love, I thought. Because I had a guy who was, and I used to think that if the guy didn't beat you, he didn't love you. Now, I don't think like that now, but that's
Right,
the way
right.
that
Yeah,
I
you
think.
right. You since learned from that. You since
Yeah.
learned from that. So, okay, so when you decided, because I had read that you wrote a note to yourself.
I was in a crack house in Daytona Beach, and I still have the items: the shirt, the shoes, the purse, and the pocketbook I had that night.
Uh-huh.
When I started writing God a letter, and I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired because I hadn't been to prison before. 58, 99, 31. I had it number for the rest of my life. It's just not a functional number. I had been so many rehabs. I was an unfit mother. I was with a guy who was HIV positive but never told me. But I'm sitting here today, don't have HIV, don't have AIDS, and I'm 20 years clean. And it's by the grace of God. I have been delivered from a homosexual lifestyle. So I did everything out there but slept with an animal. And Sandra, if the dope boy would have said, Blossom, sleep with that dog for a hit of crack, I would have. Because that's how bad of a crackhead I
Uh-huh.
was. So we got to get real about this. So I was
Yeah.
just sitting in there, and I just started writing a God letter because I had joined the church, but then I backslid. And once we go back, it's 7 times worse. And so I just started writing God a letter. And the girl house that I was in that night, because they was in another room getting high, she came in to give me another hit of crack. And I told her, I said, next time you see me, I'll be clean and sober. And she laughed. Like I said, we got two kinds of laughter. Are they laughing with your action? And I remember writing that last line, and I remember putting the purse on my shoulder, and I remember getting in my car and driving to the hospital and
Mhm.
checking myself in. And that's
Wow.
been 20 years ago. Yeah, that's been 20 years ago.
Praise the most
By the grace of God.
high. Yeah. Praise and wow, that's a wonderful testimony. Yeah, like I said when I introduced you, you're definitely an overcomer. So since then, since being clean, you have now become this major motivational speaker. You get requested a lot. You've spoken at a couple of universities. You've been on TBN. How did the TBN event come about?
You know what? I have a lot of people say, Blossom, do you have a PR person or a motivation speaker? No, I'm still a hustler. But I hustle for God now. So the same way I knocked on dope boy doors at night, can I do this or do that to get a hit of crack? It's the same thing. Like when I came into your inbox, I go on people's inbox. Can I come on and tell my story? So that's how God opens the door. We have not because we ask not, you know. So that's how that happened with the TBN.
Okay.
Had got one contact, and it was off to the races. So that's and then like with Pastor Cliff Rolala's show, God bless me, I had a great time on the show with him. You know, was up there, was able to be myself, even when it came to me and my own TV show. I was on somebody else's show. And God bless it, the producers, when we got through filming the show, they said, Blossom. I said, yes. They said, when you're ready, we got a TV show for you. So that's how God blessed me with my own TV show. So
Right.
it's just
And
about,
that's down in Tupelo, Mississippi,
right,
right? Ah,
right.
nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice, nice. And so, from being public speaking and promoting your books from Under the Bridge, you also made a debut in a feature film last year, right? And it was called A Grandmother's Face. Tell me about that. How did it come about? How did it feel playing the lead? And
You know what? God is good. Well, you know what? I was the class clown coming up. You know, I wanted to make people laugh because if it made you feel good, it made me forget about what I was going through at home. So your gifts to make room for you. You know, my teacher used to always say, Blossom, you're talking too much. So and I was working with this team. And you know, God just opened that door. They called me one night and said, Miss Blossom, we getting ready to do this film in Atlanta. I was like, okay, baby, that's good. I'm still thinking about, okay, so what that got to do with me at 9:30 at night? But that you got to be quiet, you mess your own stuff up. And so they
right.
started telling me about the movie. And I said, well, they said, we want to give you a part. I thought, you know, just in the corner waving. I was going to wave big. But they said, we want to give you. I said, well, what part in play? They said, we want to give you the lead part. I said, who? I ain't never act before. But don't never say what you won't do. You understand me? So God bless it. Was in Fayetteville, North Carolina. That's where we did the filming at. And that's one thing nobody can ever take away from me. God bless it. When they told me, I said, so what part? They told me the part. I said, so do I need to audition? And I'll never forget the camera. No, the cameraman's wife. She said, Miss Blossom, you're gonna get paid for it. So you know, I sat straight up. I'm trying to find out what's going on. And then that's when they told me. They said, we want to give you the lead part. I said, well, do I need to audition? And I'll never forget, he said, no, but you have favor. And we have to remember, favor is not fair. You understand me? Some people may have like I work at the University of Alabama. I'm working with people that have their PhDs and everything. Education and the anointing is two different things. You understand me? So with the anointing that God has given me, that's how I'm able to walk through these doors. You know what I'm saying? And but most of all, we have to stay humble. You got to stay humble. You start getting big headed, the same way he pulled you up, he'll pull you down. So I pray and I ask God to give me wisdom. I pray and I ask God to keep me humble because I used to go with big time drug dealers and I used to look down on people and I became the biggest crackhead there was. So that's why I stay humble with everything God. Like I told you this morning, I'm so honored to be able to be on this platform I don't take this lightly. You understand me? Because you could have said no. You could have been still relaxing on a weekend, but you said yes. So every time God opens up the door, like with Miss Afro, I don't take things
Right,
lightly at all. I thank God for every opportunity, even if it's just talking to somebody in a grocery store
right,
about my story. I count that as an honor because so many
right.
people, many are called, but few are chosen. So
True.
God bless it. I got the leading part, Miss Maybelline Johnson. Um, it was just truly a blessing. Now the filming has been put on hold, and we pray to God that we'll be able to finish up the movie. Like I said, it was just, and the young man, this is his true story. So like I said, I got to be made up that day, and it was just truly a blessing.
Did it, did you, what did you do to prepare to get into character?
Well, first of all, I took my partial out because I had to play to be 70, okay? And I
Oh,
just thought about how my how my great grandmother used to walk around the house, you know what I'm
okay.
saying? How she had a little shuffle. She still was sporty though. But I remember how she would hum and when she'd be cooking or sit there and pat her feet when she's thinking about something. I just remember how she would act when I was a little girl.
Right,
So it just
right. So, yeah, because when you were out there and when you were talking to the young lady and the way you said it, it was so believable. But when I was watching that, I thought somebody is going to get delivered. It's going to be an encouragement for them because when you said they're not going to die, he's not going to die. That man is going to live. There was the way you said it. It was so much power. Even though I know that you're acting, but even when you were saying that, I received it. I said, if somebody tap in, they can receive that for themselves, and because you never know what a person may be going through at that particular time, even when you're acting on stage, how it can minister, which is why I love ideas of good faith-based stories, because it can always reach a person, or a story that has a wonderful motivating or inspirational factor. Hi, Sister Debbie. so so, it's it can always just like inspire you to believe and to hold on. And even in that clip, I caught that. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what the rest of the story is going to be. I pray that he be able to get it done, hopefully this year or early next year. From doing that, another opportunity came where you wrote about or you were part of the production, and you wrote about Miss Afro, that was directed by Joyce Harriet, and she produced it, right? So tell me about that.
well, I tell you, it was last weekend. I was in Buckhead, and it was just truly, it was just a togetherness. It just fitted like a glove. And if each person, we was telling our stories. You know what I'm saying? And
Uh-huh.
that's like I said, when it comes to telling your story, nobody can tell it better than you can.
Right.
But while we were sitting at that table, we realized that we all had something in common. Uh, we all had an Anthony in our lives. We was like, wait a minute, just sitting there, and being able to, because it's hard for women to work together. I don't know why, but it started with Sarah and Hagar, back in the day. But for when women can get together and unite and put something together, not no jealousy or nothing like that, just being on one accord is truly a blessing. Just found out that they planning another Miss Afro. So sometime in October. So I'm just waiting for them to let me know because I'm ready to go right now. You know what I'm saying? Anytime, and so when she told me that she wanted me to be part of it, just wearing the afro, it was just something special about it because you just I can't even explain it. It's just a joy. It was just a joy. We had two shows, and we all was so dirt tired at the end, but it was a good tired at the end. You know what I'm saying? We had did the rehearsal like the day of the event. So like I say, God is God. Hey, Lady Joy. It was just truly a blessing. It just it seemed like we had been rehearsing for months, but we didn't. It was just that on that day, that's when we did it. The
Right.
music we had a young lady who's sung some special songs for us, and so like I said, we had a nice little turnout. And one thing I like about it is because everybody that was there was anointed to be there. Because you be wanting to say you want this person there, you want that whoever God says is supposed to be there. And I've had people to reach back out to me and just say how they enjoy
Right.
the play.
Right.
Lady that believed that we were just acting, and so Joy had to remind her, no, these are our stories that we're
Oh,
talking about.
okay.
So yeah, so each person told bits out of their books about their story. You know what I'm saying? So and it just fit together so perfectly, so perfect.
Okay. And the name Miss Afro, were these stories from the women, because when you think of afros, I mean, now, a lot of women are wearing, I mean, heck, I got a curly afro right now. A lot of women are wearing their natural hair, but was it based off of, part of it being the natural hair movement from the
This-
70s, these men that they had met in the 70s, or was it just,
I
you
I
know, the
believe I
name Miss
believe
Afro in itself?
it
Uh-huh.
because we're telling our story. It's natural. Like she was saying, it's a vision from Reverend Latrell. It was her vision, and this is something that God had showed her, and it just came together like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
they had been working on this for a couple of years before I
Oh,
came about.
okay.
I found out about like the week before it was going on. So that's how
Oh,
God. Yeah. So that's yeah,
so
yeah.
you just
So
right on in. You
yeah,
just say, hey, I can do this.
yeah. And
So, go ahead.
it was her experience. It was shown to her.
Uh-huh.
And so, like I said, when she walked into the room, she was telling what she saw, how we was gonna be sitting, and all that. So, like I said, this all was new to me. They had been working on it, but then God said, "Okay, y'all call Blossom." And so when Joy told me about it, she said, "Blossom, I want you to be part of it." I was like,
So, um, so you've written books, and you currently still writing another book, and then you've also performed on stage, and you've been in a film. And who in the film industry you would like to work with? Actor, director, who would you like to work with?
"You know what? That I know people by their faces." Um, I really just I would love to be in out there in the industry. I anybody who want a character, my name Blossom Rogers, Facebook, phone number 305-753-8164. Whoever God opened the door, I'm ready to walk on in. So
So you say it could be comedy,
yeah,
drama, anything.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Especially when it comes to uh about a woman who has been through something that I've been through. I would love to work in something like that because you know what? Women go through a lot. Now don't get me wrong. I My heart goes out to when I had because I've had a lot of men to come up to me and say, Blossom, I've read your book. I was molested as well. For a man to tell you that, that's powerful. But
Right.
I would love to be out there just to show what women and we can make it because I was smoking $500 to $600 a day or more. But
Wow.
God, I'm sitting here today, so I'm the proud mother of three grown sons, 13 grands, and three great grands. I'm a great
Oh,
grandmother, so
wow.
yeah. So I want to leave them a legacy, not just money, but just letting them wisdom. No matter where we start, is where where we end up at. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Where you going? Where you going?
right,
Basically, you going
right. So like I say,
right. And so, from from the writing to the acting, and you're a motivational speaker. You've spoken at universities. You've spoken on television, national Christian television, and you're an activist, which leads me into Habitat Humanity. Gifted you with something. Can
Yeah.
you share what that gift was?
My dream is to open up treatment facilities for women all over the world. And I went before Habitat 8.5 years ago, and I was telling them my dreams. I moved from North Miami, so now I live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And I went before Habitat, and I was just telling them, there's nothing here for the women. And so I was asking them, could they build me a home for women that want to stay clean and sober? Unfortunately, they couldn't build it, but God touched their heart. They gave me some land. So I have my land, I have my blueprints, I have my building permit. I've been approved by God in the city. We get to house 6 women instead of 3 women. And this home will be for women that want to stay clean and sober. They can stay 8 months to a year. And the name of this home will be called From Under a Bridge Safe Haven Home for Women. My next home will be called Tears from Under a Bridge because I cried many tears. And that'll be for women and children because I was homeless at one time with one of my sons. So I want to give back because I had an older pops to tell me years ago. He said, Sugar Lump, he used to call me Sugar Lump. He said, wherever you messed up at, that's where you clean up at. So I wanted to open up a home in my hometown, but God told me to start here. So, like I said, I've been a nonprofit organization since 2014.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, just waiting for God to give me. It's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, washer, dryer, kitchen nook area, and just to help these women get off the street. Because if we don't have a safe place to go, we'll go back to them people, places, and things. So
Absolutely.
that's what I want to do as well. I'm gonna be a millionaire. So we got that part. I
Wait a
want
minute.
to get out
Let's
there.
let's be a little bit more clear. Not just a millionaire. You want to be a
More,
multi-millionaire.
because
What you want to do?
the plans I want to do. But you know what? It still starts at staying humble. Somebody gonna reach out to me once they see this show. I'm just believing that because God just doesn't do things just to be doing things.
No,
He has a reason for everything.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm going to open it up for if anyone have any questions for Blossom. Please feel free to. You can either leave it in the chat and I'll ask her, or you can ask her directly and I'll bring you into the room to ask Blossom directly. Don't be shy.
Come on.
So, so hi, Maurice Lochner. I see you. Um, Hi, Miss Lee. Yes, Blossom is a natural. She is a natural. I can see her just jumping in and doing what needs to be done.
Yes. God be the glory.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with besides Habitat Humanity, like what is your like next venture? What do you see yourself doing next?
Getting into the film industry. That's what I want to do. I want to get into the film industry. I want to act. Um,
Mhm.
just just getting out there just to show blossom, just to show blossom. And so like I said, with the play and with the I loved when we did the documentary. It was truly a blessing. I had been on a young lady's podcast, and then next thing I know she wanted to do me in her magazine. The next thing I know she said, Blossom, I would love to do your documentary. So we worked on it for a year, Tamla Coleman and Darren Hudson. When I tell you, God just wove it together. Everything was filmed out of Atlanta, and that bridge next to Six Flags over Georgia, that's the bridge that we went up under. So, and then God bless it. When she told me she had put it in some film festivals, I was like, okay. And I remember saying, Lord, if I just be nominated, I'll be satisfied. So then when we got nominated, I was like, Lord, if we could just win. And so God bless it. We won Best Documentary of the Year for
Right.
2024. It's still hard to believe because people used to laugh and spit and kick on me, but 2024 Film Festival. We won from Under Bridge One.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's so inspiring. And two, like you said earlier, everything that we go through, first of all, I always say the most high is intentional. He's strategic and he's intentional. And it's never, he's not wasteful. Everything that, he's not, I don't care what you've gone through, he's gonna make it work for his
Yeah.
glory, for
Yeah.
his glory first, and second to your advantage, for his
Amen.
glory and to your advantage, and it don't feel that way when you're going through something, but after you've gone through it and when you look back and you're like, wow, and he's always there. I mean, if you open yourself up to him, he's always there. If you listen, he's always speaking,
Yeah.
and even sometimes when it seems like he's silent, it's because he's giving you the information. Now you have to draw back. Sometimes you have to step back and watch the student. I've already given you what you need to know. Now you gotta figure it out. You know
Right.
what it is. I've already put it into you. So that's the wonderful thing. I think Ms. Lay, she said, I don't have any questions. However, Blossom has inspired me to write a movie. So get ready, get ready. And I cannot wait to write the stage play about your life. See?
Amen.
And that's what it is too with us creators. We can see something, whether it be from our own life or from a distance or from someone close, and it can motivate us to want to tell a story. And so your life is it's a shining example of what it means to be an overcomer, what it means to be the song just came to mind, I'm a survivor, right? You are truly a survivor, but you're not only just a survivor because you just don't want to survive. You want to thrive. You don't want to always stay in survival state. You want to thrive. You want to flourish. You want to blossom. You want to grow. And like I had written in when I was doing the post talking about you, it's like your experiences have become compost. And you know what compost is? It's it's like the leftovers or trash or whatever you can use from gardens, and they put it in a garden and it grows. It's fertilizer. It's basically fertilizer. And it makes something grow. It makes a garden grow. And I believe your experiences, when you share them with the masses, it's like fertilizer for somebody else and it inspires somebody else, and it makes them want to grow. And then they too can blossom. So, I just think that's just a wonderful thing. And, with that, I just want to say thank you, Blossom, for coming on here and into the room and sharing your story with me and with our viewing audience. And Blossom, I need you to share your Instagram and your Facebook handle. So if somebody wants to follow you, where do they follow you at?
Okay, you can hit me up on Facebook, Blossom Rogers, Instagram, Blossom.Rogers. Phone number 305-753-8164. And I'm here. I love to travel, I love to talk, and I love to laugh. And thank you for joining us today.
So I want to thank everyone today for tuning in to Into the Room. My name is Sandra Nicholson. Thank you so much for your time and for just watching this special segment with our special guest, Ms. Blossom Rogers. And until next time, you all take care, be blessed, and see ya.
See ya.